Hello, Wendy.
Hello, Jane.
Welcome to Love Letters, Life, and Other Conversations.
Fill your cup and make it overflow. The thoughts of the chateau.
Off you go, Wendy. Love letter number 1. A love letter from you to me.
Yes. Now, I must preface this with I am a crier, and if something is important to me, it comes out of my eyes. So I personally find the written love letter allows me to express what I'm feeling without all of this.
Yeah.
But it is authentic.
And you know that I understand that all too well. I'm exactly the same.
Yes. So I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. I just tell them, this is how you know I'm not lying.
Exactly. Exactly. I said to someone the other day, just be comfortable with my weirdness and my uncomfortableness. Just be comfortable with it. You don't have to be the same. You just have to let me be my authentic self.
That is absolutely true. And I have edited my word choice for so many years because of the emotion. And I robbed myself of the gift of sharing how I felt, and I robbed that other person of hearing how I felt.
How you really felt. Yes.
Yes.
I completely understand. I think I wrote this morning when I was describing actually what our love letters, life, and other conversations was about. I said, I think I better clarify what is a love letter. It's a letter, a text, a poem, a DM. It's a drawing, a voice message, a watercolor, a recipe, a cup of tea, a smile, a home-baked meal delivered. It's what connects us, makes us feel all those messy emotions that without, life would be pretty beige.
Beautiful.
I think a lot of us decided that we weren't going to be beige anymore. So with that, Wendy.
Yes.
Correct. And please read for us the love letter that you sent to me when we had only known each other for 1 week.
1 week, yes. So I was in the Mastering the Art of True Hospitality course, and this is what I wrote. Jane, exclamation point. I am only 20 minutes into the video. You're sharing the story of your mom changing her mind twice, and I can't even tell you. There it goes.
That's
how
okay.
full, yes, I'm here for it, how full my heart is hearing you tell these stories. Your own love story with the French chateau at the very time you were beginning your love story with Pete. The way you describe your childhood, your larger than life mom, and just the beautiful ways this has all come together for you. I find myself smiling so big and fighting back tears of intense glee for what you have and the generous ways you are sharing it with us. The new mantra for me this week will be, don't be ridiculous. Of course you can do this, which is what your mom said to you when you asked her about the chateau. And now I am listening to you share about driving in and her gentle, welcoming soul. that of the house. It's just so much goodness. And I want you to know how valuable and meaningful your storytelling is to me. Lastly, oh my word, an embroidered pillowcase. I can't even. I hope this running commentary of your video wasn't too much. I just could not tell you how absolutely lovely all of this is. Enjoy the rest of your week, Wendy Harrop.
And that is our springboard for our first episode.
Yes.
Where to start, Wendy? Where to start? I mean, I remember receiving that note from you. I think you sent it via email to me.
Yes.
And I remember opening it and thinking, oh my goodness, I can't believe. Now, I will preface this by saying that that was not actually after the first lesson. That was after the second lesson. Why do I know that? Because you are talking about my mum and my childhood and my mum changing her mind about the wallpaper. So I know that it's a pre-recorded lesson for Mastering the Art of True Hospitality called La Chambre. And I go into wallpaper and mum changing her mind. And was that about wallpaper? No.
Yes. Yeah, it was such a beautiful story.
Yeah. I mean, it was about really, I think I began that pre-recorded lesson by saying, I want to fill you in a little bit, not just about the bedroom and how I welcome people and how I show hospitality when people come to stay, but I wanted to give some context about where it had all begun. And so I took you back to my childhood home and the relationship between my mum and my dad, which was both insane, but incredibly full of love and devotion to one another, but insane at the same time. And I was actually thinking about this the other day and wondering, because you wrote something else to me today, Wendy, and I just want to read that or parts of it. You wrote to me earlier this morning, what you are doing, Jane, is so good. Your core value of authentic connection screams through all your graceful whispers. I love that.
And I could never say it out loud to you without crying.
I love that. And I love that. I love that you've told me that, because sometimes I think, no, not sometimes I think, sometimes I know I'm too much.
Same.
Right? I know I'm too much. But too much is better than beige. Too much is better than not entering the murky waters. And I don't want to talk about COVID, but I would like to discuss what COVID did to many of us.
Yes.
And I think it allowed us to enter the murky waters and be brave and have hard conversations, and say things that we perhaps would never have said before.
I agree.
And it allowed me personally to say things that I would never have dreamt of saying before. But all of a sudden, it's like, oh my gosh, have I been missing out on all these feelings and all these emotions for 57 years because I've been safe?
It was a great magnifier. So we spoke about this last week when we were together, which I just love that sentence, that everything that was good got better.
Yes.
And everything that was bad got worse. And if you choose to, you can find the gift in that. And I think this time for me personally was a treasure hunt, because I decided that's what it was going to be. We have the opportunity. We get to choose. We get to choose how we respond or react to what is happening, and coming into that forced time of pause and reflection, I came with the grid or the filter of this is not happening to me, it's happening for me. And with that, I was able to be intentional and discover what was important and what I was going to give my energy and time to, and saying yes to myself and the things that delighted me led me to you.
Yeah.
And to so many others.
Yes, to so many others online. We've also talked about this connection that we've felt online. And I wonder whether, through all the words and the language that we used whilst online with people that we connected with, whether all those words and scribbles and thoughts and wades through murky waters brought around, to my way of thinking, such growth that I don't believe we would have had, but except for what we were forced into in the last 20 months.
I believe it was because there was collective growth.
Yes.
That it's so significant. It wasn't happening to just you, and you had to preface every conversation with, oh, this thing is happening and I haven't left my house. And no, it was happening to everybody at the same time.
And collectively, every person in the world was going through the same thing. And that has never happened before, not in the space, in the same sort of space, because we've never had this connectiveness through technology before. I think it was amazing when you and I met in person for the first time last Monday, even though we'd known each other for, I don't know, 10 months.
Right, yes.
And that coming together of knowing but not knowing, really. But it was that I thought that it would be, because you were authentically just Wendy, and I hope that I was just Jane as well. You know, it happened
Absolutely.
in August last year. I met Charlotte from Vivian Margot for the first
Okay.
time. And she arrived with Annie from Annie's on Instagram as well, and the three of us met first time. And I must share that with you because I videoed as they walked through the door and the screaming and the squeal that went on.
Yes.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. But getting back to your letter that you sent me, I think it's interesting that when you sent it, you said, Jane, I'm only 20 minutes into the video. You're sharing the story of your mum changing her mind twice. Now, that video was about an hour and 10 minutes in length.
Yes.
And so you stopped, you know, after 20 minutes and took the time to write to me, which, you know, I was just so thrilled about. And I can't even tell you how full my heart is hearing you tell these stories. And I want to talk a little bit about storytelling, Wendy, because I think that that's part of this. Storytelling, and storytelling being how we're connecting and how we're sharing our history and sharing our values. And I feel like there's a lot more storytelling going on.
I agree. Typically, I mean, in the relationships that I've had previously, people that I've met in person, it's so interesting. You find out things in the physical and in the formalities of how you are first introduced to somebody. And then it's over time and different connection points that you learn these stories and how it's been flipped on its head with coming into the course that you offered and just feeling so deeply connected by you sharing these stories from your childhood and from your family. It was such a deep bond so early that I felt so honored I couldn't not mention it. And then
but let's go a little bit further than that, Wendy. I mean, there were how many in the group? 7 all up?
Yes.
6 ladies and myself, 7 of us.
Yes.
And I think what was extraordinary, and we both felt this, was that all 7 connected and dove deep very quickly. And we must have all been craving that at the time. I think we started that first Mastering the Art of True Hospitality, I think it was the 2nd or the 3rd week of February from memory.
Yes.
And you know, that very first lesson, I remember that first lesson, bienvenue, welcome. You know, what is welcome? What is hospitality? How do we hold space for people? How do we make people feel? You go on, because you have 3 wonderful words that you say here. How do we make people feel
welcomed, anticipated, and celebrated?
Welcomed, anticipated, and celebrated. How do we do that? And I think that that you, in that love letter that you sent to me, that note that you sent to me, made me feel welcomed into your home, because really we are taking each other into our homes. You certainly made me feel anticipated. I remember getting that note and reading it to Pete and saying, oh, she obviously really likes it.
Yes, she does.
Anticipated and celebrated, because I felt that I felt all three of those things because of the note that you took the time to write to me. And I don't think it matters. You know, I used to think, oh, I only, you know, I still treasure handwritten notes, and I do, absolutely. Yes. And thank you so much for the one that you left on the side table for me. I loved that.
I'm so glad.
Today, you can see that I didn't strip the sheets until yesterday. If you don't mind, I might read that.
Absolutely.
At the end today, because I think that might be a lovely one for people to hear as well. But you know, it's these love letters, no matter what form they take, whether it is a note thanking someone for an experience like yours was, whether it, like your cousin that was here the other day,
yes,
is a watercolor that her boyfriend had in her suitcase. How beautiful was that?
So beautiful.
Whether it is a voicemail or a direct message, all these love letters take us to a place that, you know, I think we're celebrating a lot more since we were put in this forced lockdown. And that is an incredible place to be.
It is. It's a double blessing, I find. It's a gift for me to pause and share what experience I'm having because of what you have done. And then, of course, it's a gift to read that someone, you're holding space for people. You're holding space for the 6 women in that class. We went deep because you provided this beautiful container for us. And what a love letter does is I feel like it stops time. Even in the amount of time it takes to write a comment on an Instagram post, it's not insignificant to the writer nor the receiver. And taking the time to express love and appreciation, we never regret that.
No, we don't. And of course, the biggest thing that a love letter, a note, a text, words, whether they're written or they're verbal and recorded, but with that recording, with that written word, we can go back. We can go back and we can read it again and again. We can go back and we can listen again and again. And we can listen to the nuance of the words. We can read between the lines. It's a testament and it's a memory that we can keep going back to. And I love that about love letters as well. I think that's been a really lovely start, Wendy.
I agree.
Can I finish by reading the the beautiful note that you left for me?
Of course. Thank you. I would love to hear it in your voice.
Okay. I have it right here.
You're so sweet.
Because I think it sums up very nicely some of the thoughts that we've been talking about this morning. Jane, I can hardly contain the joy in my heart in anticipation of this week. In finding you this year, I have found myself. Thank you for your gracious welcome and invitation into this beautiful life you've created. I am honored and overflowing with gratitude to be here. Your beautiful courage, generous encouragement, intentional relationships, and aligned emotions are an inspiration to so many. You being you is a great gift you give the world. With admiration and gratitude, Wendy. That was beautiful, Wendy. That was
Thank you. I would say all of that again.
Well, it's really gorgeous, and I'm going to pack it away somewhere very safe. You know what I often do with this sort of note?
Tell me.
I put it inside books.
Beautiful.
And then least expect it, I will come across it, or one of the kids will come across it, or a guest will come across it. And I mean, unless there was something really, really private note, I do that and I pop it into books so that other people can read the love letters. And I think that goes back to what I did as a child. I used to collect flowers and press them into books. And just recently, I opened up an old cookbook of Mum's. She only had one, the Australian and New Zealand cookbook. It was a huge cookbook. And I was looking for a recipe called moomba fingers, which is a slice that I used to make when I was a kid. And there, with the recipe of moomba fingers, was all these flowers from my childhood garden, pressed between waxed paper.
That is beautiful.
My 7 or 8 or 9-year-old self had put there. And I guess that was a love of myself.
Oh, it was. I love that.
Which I think we might talk about next time we meet, because I received a letter from a friend this morning, and I'll talk to you about that later. But
Yes.
it's a nice way to start our podcast next week when we continue on with love letters, life, and
Other conversations.
conversation.
We have loved this conversation and sharing this love letter with you, and we would like to invite you to send us your love letters. Visit the link in the show notes to send us your letters and to join our email list. See you next week.